Welcome to Cryptid Peepaw Summer, a place for those of us who feel the most home within the trees, but also recognize the cryptid uncertainty that lies within. Whether you're a fan of Bigfoot, Nessie, the Loveland Frogman, or even Squonk, the Cryptid Peepaw welcomes you all with a little bit of burnt campfire coffee and X-Files reruns on the TV. I'm spending a weekend up at our cabin having the most Cryptid Peepaw weekend ever, so let's dive right in. It's morning here at the cabin, and I've decided to wake up a little earlier than my girlfriend so that I can make us a wonderful breakfast. Before the trip, I pre-made some pancake batter to bring with us because I think homemade definitely tastes better, especially on a weekend like this. So here I stand at the stove, struggling to make pancakes as usual because they're literally the hardest thing for me to make, listening to the local country music radio station since that's the only thing that we can get out here in the woods. To make up for the kind of burnt pancakes, I made us a really delicious coffee. Today I went for kind of a caramel s'mores iced dirty chai, perfect for those camping vibes that we are seeking out here in the wilderness. We're enjoying our breakfast out here on the patio, drinking our coffee and toughing it through those pancakes with some binoculars and easy reads to just soak in these incredible clean air morning vibes. We ended up seeing a fox and a ton of really cute chipmunks through our binoculars, and even a really big raven came to visit us. It was such a magical morning. After we finished our coffee and pancakes, we decided to head for a walk around the cabin community. It's always so beautiful up here during June because it doesn't really get hotter than 80 degrees during the day, and the nights are still nice and chill around 60, 50 degrees, so you can go out for a walk and still be comfortable. I did have to bring my walker, which was a little treacherous on these mostly rock and dirt roads, but it was all worth it when we found this really cute little free library. Given that this is a lot of people's summer cabins, it totally makes sense to have a nice book to read at your cabin. I loved that they stocked this with some classics and some newer books, and I definitely would have brought some of my own books to add if I had known about this, but I did my services of organizing it and cleaning it up a little bit and leaving it better for the next person. So we just got up to the cabin last night. We had a little hot dog and s'mores style dinner, and today is our full day at the cabin because we do leave tomorrow evening. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I have in my activity box for the afternoon. I did make this little nest here in the shade because the sun is actually really warm right now. So I am currently reading Slasher Summer by E.L. Chen. It is an arc that I got, and I'm going to try to finish this today if I can. But we also have my portable cassette player / radio, my notebook that has all the content I plan to make in it, some posters for a little decoration project, a Shudder magazine. This is the August 2026 Shudder magazine. Some super secret special little laminated things for that art project I was talking about. And then I also just have some off deep woods because I'm a bug magnet and I will be bitten. All right, so let's cozy in for a little bit of afternoon reading here on the porch. For lunch, we decided to drive down to this really gorgeous lake and have lunch at one of the picnic tables. I, of course, had to wear my camo Crocs complete with salmon and duck gibbets, as any cryptid peepaw would endorse. I packed us a really easy lunch of some sandwiches, veggies, little sides of chips, and some treats as well, which were really rewarding after the around 1 mile hike we did around the lake. Luckily, it was all boardwalked so that I was able to use my walker on that, but let me tell you, it was actually so hard as someone who is chronically ill and disabled, but finishing it with the reward of a picnic was so worth it. We both brought some fun activities for the picnic. I brought my current book that I was reading at the time, which was How to Survive Camping: The Man with No Shadow by Bonnie Quinn. I will be talking more about that series in the book recommendation portion of the video coming up next. And then my girlfriend brought her sketchbook and some colored pencils and did some really beautiful plein air drawings of the nature all around us. I actually thrifted one of my favorite pieces of cryptid peepaw quote-unquote merchandise for this picnic trip, and that is the cooler that you will see that is the Sport Cooler 6 by Gott. The side that's showing forward right now is kind of a fisherman with a large fish hooked on it in some sort of lake forest situation, and then the backside has a man hunting with his dog. And I knew the instant I saw it at the thrift store that was coming home with me. I immediately went home and hosed it out, and now I have loved using it on this entire trip for more than just lunch. It is late afternoon here at the cabin, and I have my afternoon cup of coffee that is almost all gone, but delicious and definitely needed. It is officially cryptid peepaw summer. I am so excited to give you guys a tour of everything cryptid peepaw summer. Let's talk about book recommendations first, because you guys know I'm a bookish guy. I love everything reading. So let's do some cryptid peepaw book recommendations. This is my stack here, so let's kind of just go through them. I lost my spot. I dropped the pile and I lost my spot in the book that I'm currently reading. Oh, I dropped it again. So I just started reading The Summer Fun Massacre by Craig DeLouie. I really like Craig DeLouie, and this is a camp slasher, which is definitely my favorite kind of slasher for summer. And being up at the cabin, I thought it'd be a perfect time to read a summer camp slasher. It's not necessarily cryptid peepaw, but it just totally fits the cabin and camping vibes. The most cryptid peepaw summer book I can recommend to you is How to Survive Camping: The Lady in Chains by Bonnie Quinn. So this is actually part of a, I believe, 4-book series currently. I read the first one, which is called The Man with No Shadow, and it was really incredible. I love this author's writing and her kind of like humor that she adds into the horror. But the entire book took place through autumn and winter, and I really wanted a summer vibe. And this absolutely delivers. It starts in late spring, ends in early autumn, and just goes through a full summer and spring season at this haunted campground, following a very tired campground manager who has to deal with cryptids and folklore beasts haunting her campgrounds. So she has to protect her campers while also appeasing the cryptids. It's really funny, honestly, and very cool. What's nice about the second book is that it recaps a ton from the first book, so you're able to kind of just jump into the sequel without having read the first book. I, of course, would recommend reading it first because there's a ton of lore, but they do a really decent job of recapping if you want to just start with summer vibes. I did also just finish Summer Slasher by E.L. Chen. I got this as an ARC and I adored it. I read this all this morning and it was so much fun. It's not, again, it more fits the like camping cabin vibes because they are at a cabin in the woods where a famous 80s slasher horror film was filmed, and they're like a horror film club. So they all go up there to reunite after being out of high school for a few years. And it turns out someone is trying to recreate the events of the slasher, and they're all trapped at this cabin. Very good. Some kind of non-fiction books I have on my current Cryptid Peepaw TBR are these 3. So I'm going to be reading, it's called The Big Book of Cryptid Trivia: Fun, Fascinating Folklore About Bigfoot, Mothman, Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, and More, by Bernadette Johnson. I found this at my local library, and I'm excited to learn. The other one is called Encounters, Experiences with Non-Human Intelligence, Explorations with UFOs, Dreams, Angels, AI, and Other Dimensions by D.W. Pasulka. I am most interested in the UFOs and extraterrestrial section of this book. I don't really have an interest in reading any AI horror. It's already scary enough out here. I do not need more to fear. But I'm excited to read some of these around the campfire and just get a little spooky campfire vibe with like alien stories happening. Very X-Files core. And then Real Monsters, Gruesome Critters, and Beasts from the Dark Side by Brad Steger. This one is a little thicker. I did get all of these at my library. This also just kind of tells stories and accounts from people who have had cryptid encounters, so obviously very into that. One I just started on my Kindle, which is definitely giving cryptid peepaw vibes, is A Lonely Broadcast by Bayron. This follows a radio host who has to live in this like isolated old Firewatch tower while doing radio, but there's this fog that consumes and these beasts, and it's very, very cool. Basically, she's in charge of alerting the small town of like all of these bestial activities while also having to be a radio host in this isolated tower in the forest. I'm loving it so much. Yeah. On that note, if you like the kind of like fire lookout abandoned vibes, play the game Firewatch. It is so beautiful. I watched my girlfriend play almost the entire thing, and I think we both like cried at the end. It's so good. Very good isolation camp summer horror. More of a mystery, not necessarily horror, but some parts are scary. The most cryptid peepaw summer book I can recommend to you is called The Monsters We Made by Peyton June. I got this as an ARC through NetGalley, and honestly, I will read anything Peyton June writes. Her horror is so incredible. So this comes out on June 26th. And basically, if you're into the X-Files and always thought that Mulder and Scully were like a bi for bi couple, like I believe that in my whole heart, you would love this book. It follows a paranormal investigator and a local small town lesbian as they have to uncover town secrets, aliens, experiments, extraterrestrial things, portals. It's so cool. Seriously, this feels like watching a gay episode of The X-Files. And The X-Files is absolutely one of the most cryptid peepaw things I can recommend, because cryptid peepaw always has X-Files reruns happening constantly. The last thing I'm going to recommend book-wise for cryptid peepaw summer would be any kind of like Goosebumps or R.L. Stine Fear Street camp-related books, like Welcome to Camp Nightmare. That's obviously a huge classic. If you really want to get those like late 90s, early 2000s, middle grade literature vibe for cryptid peepaw summer, definitely some Goosebumps books. I read like 24 Goosebumps books a couple summers ago. Incredible. I plan to do it again. My favorite camp or camping related ones are Welcome to Camp Nightmare, Curse of Camp Cold Lake, I think it's called, and Ghosts of Fear Street, Camp Fear Ghouls. My top 3 camping Goosebumps books. Let's talk about some cryptid peepaw movie recommendations. So obviously I said The X-Files, that's a TV show, of course, but I did get it on VHS. I'll include footage here. I love it. X-Files, #1 cryptid peepaw activity. I'm also going to recommend The Sasquatch Gang. This is such a campy, very low budget, fun movie about this very small town group of people having to basically discover Sasquatch. And it's really heartwarming, and you wouldn't think it'd be that good, but it really is. Highly recommend. Next, which I also was able to grab on VHS, is The Mothman Prophecies, starring Richard Gere. What is he doing here? He's incredible. I'll watch anything with him. He's like, I think this kind of paranormal or scientific investigator and Mothman. Hot man, Mothman. Maybe they'll kiss. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm recommending it. It looks really good. I need a movie where Richard Gere kisses Mothman. Next is Frogman. This just looks so haunting and beautiful, and I cannot wait. I'm going to get this on DVD, actually, and the Loveland Frogman has my whole heart. My whole heart. This has really incredible found footage style filming and begs the question, does the Loveland Frogman fuck? You'll have to watch the movie to find out. Next is The Legend of Boggy Creek. This is a 70s camp cryptid woods forest summer movie. We are watching that tonight for our movie night, so stay tuned for all the really fun movie night at the cabin footage of The Legend of Boggy Creek. And then lastly is The Incident at Loch Ness. This is a mockumentary style film featuring Werner Herzog. Weirdly enough, this looks so funny. Like, actually incredible. Seriously, The Incident at Loch Ness is probably going to become one of my new favorite mockumentaries. Those are my Cryptid Peepaw book and movie recommendations. I really hope you love them as much as I do. If you're looking for some companions for your reading specifically, I do have a Cryptid Peepaw summer bookmark in my Etsy. It's literally my favorite bookmark I've ever made. It features the Loveland Frogman, Bigfoot, and of course my boy Squonk and Mouthman. Check it out. If you are a Kindle person like I am, I have a digital download of my Cryptid Peepaw Summer collage. This fits in Kindles for Paperwhite 11, 12, and Colorsoft. This is basically just my full inspiration board for Cryptid Peepaw Summer. I currently have it in my Kindle right now, and it just helps with the immersion, as the Kindle kids know. Anyway, happy Cryptid Peepaw Summer. I'm going to continue enjoying my weekend at the cabin, and I'll see you guys in the next check-in. One thing I did once we got up to the cabin that made it just feel the perfect Cryptid Peepaw vibes was I decorated the little shed behind the cabin. I decided I wanted to make a really cool custom banner. So on my iPad, I drew out what looks like some patches. 2 of them are different kinds of fish, and I love the colors of them. And then of course I had to do the I Want to Believe poster from Mulder's office on the X-Files. And then a patch of Sasquatch that I made that says "The truth is out there." It kind of looks like a Boy Scout badge, which I thought was really fun. In addition to the banner, which we just hung up on some old macrame string we have, I made 3 different posters of Cryptid Peepawness. The first is the I Want to Believe poster from the X-Files that I just drew with markers. Then the more fun ones are the Have You Seen This Creature? And it's a Bigfoot drawing with its last location, a visual description, and then a phone number to call if you've seen it. And the last poster, which is my favorite and the most fun, I made Cryptid Peepaw in The Sims and created a screenshot to use as his most recent photo in a Have You Seen Our Cryptid Peepaw? It says, "We lost our peepaw, probably at the lake drinking beer looking for Sasquatch, but we just cannot find him." So this is kind of like a reward poster. If anyone finds our Cryptid Peepaw, we would love to have him back. If you would like to help us look for him, lure him in by cooking some hot dogs or burning coffee while playing X-Files reruns, he's sure to come right in. We also found this little animal hole underneath this tree root that literally just looked like a tiny little hobbit hole, so we decided to collect some wildflowers from the area and just decorate it a little bit for whatever creature lives within.
When camping in the woods and you see a strange shadow, it's best to be on the lookout for cryptids. You never know what's lurking behind each tree. Could it be an angry forest entity out to take your soul, or a Bigfoot looking for love? On this episode of the Cryptid Peepaw Adventures, we went searching for the truth. We want answers! By the end of our hunt, we realized there are things in these woods we would never truly understand. Maybe this little guy knows more than he's letting on. See you next time on Cryptid Peepaw Adventures.
It is felt by some scientists that Bigfoot falls somewhere in this progressive chart of man. A giant hominid related to but not like modern man. According to this theory, Bigfoot would have pursued a course of evolution separate but parallel to his human cousins. Dr. Grover Krantz is an anthropologist at Washington State University.
It looks on the north side of the trees. Well, legend has it when the rains come down, all the worms come up to breathe. Legend has it when the sunbeams come, all the plants stay even with that ease. Well, legend has it that the world spins round on an axis of 23 degrees. But have you heard the story of the rabbit in the moon, or the cow that walked the planets while straddling the spoon, or she who left the mountains while whistling up a tune and swapped their songs with swallows while riding on a broom?
Since there were 2 nights of dinners to be had while we were at the cabin, the first day we just decided to do some campfire hot dogs, which were incredibly delicious, and I'm actually craving some right now as I'm editing. The second night, I decided to whip us up something a little different. We decided to do some campfire sweet potatoes. Basically, I cut 2 sweet potatoes in half, scored them a bit, and then shoved some butter into the little slats in the potatoes, oiled up the outside, and double wrapped it in foil. Then I had Hannah, who is our resident fire master, shove them underneath some flames covered in embers, and they cooked there for around 2 hours before we took them out and checked on them, and they were perfect. Inside we put a veggie medley of peas, carrots, corn, green beans, that kind of thing, and then some shredded chicken on top, and it was absolutely delicious. Back inside, we had our cryptid peepaw summer movie night. This consisted, of course, with some stovetop Jiffy Pop, which is the best way to consume popcorn at the cabin in my opinion, and we watched The Legend of Boggy Creek, which came out in 1972, taking place in Arkansas surrounding a cryptid they have. While we watched the movie, I did a bag of my fluids that I take through my port implant and just had a wonderful, relaxing movie night evening before snuggling into our beds and enjoying our last night at the cabin. Thank you so much for joining me for this Cryptid Peepaw cabin weekend. It has truly been so rejuvenating and relaxing just to spend a couple days up here in the mountain air. There's no cell service up here at all, so we truly were living with the land this weekend, reading all of our books, listening to cassettes and CDs, making all of our own food, and just living a beautiful, simple weekend with the Cryptid Peepaw vibes, of course. Let me know your favorite cryptids down below and what you'll be doing to celebrate Cryptid Peepaw Summer. I'm excited to continue the summer vibes all throughout July and August with plenty of campfire weekends, X-Files reruns, and Sasquatch searching. Because maybe cryptids aren't that scary. Maybe they just need a friend and someone who will understand. See you next time.
What's that stick right there? Break it off. I was rolling.
I'm covered in stick. I'm gonna reset.
Oh, but it looks so pretty. There's a little light flare.